I'm here for you guys. This is why you brought me on the team. It's right here.
Expanding our repertoire.
It's your first ISTE, and now you're on a podcast.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense.
Let's take a picture of all of us for our Twitter handle.
Yes.
All right.
Now, if I could just get the microphones to connect, that would be great. Fantastic.
There you go. That's a tech person right there. Did you try turning it off and turning it back on?
I did. I'll do that next.
You do it?
Because I went to play my sound and it didn't do the things.
I hear all the lights picking up.
I needed to go into the broadcast
I
and
get it.
not my MacBook.
I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen any of our DLC peeps.
Right. So I mean, it's
All right, we should be good. Here we go.
All right.
A lot of things that if you see something, you should say something.
yes, there is definitely that guy.
Speaking of seeing something and saying something, Doug knows how I work. Classic transition. I am joined by the Douglas Tim, new to my life, John Terlecki, and Crystal Samuels, who listens to the show. She talks about it in the bathroom or Pod PD.
Potty PD.
Unless you are having conversations with people about the show in the restroom, I'm all for it.
Sometimes it happens.
All right, so
PD happens everywhere, anywhere.
that's right.
I'm concerned about that one.
So you are all from Delaware. Please tell me about your school district, what your roles are, and then we'll have a little fun.
Sure. I mean, I can get started. I mean, John was the first part of the team that started maybe, 3 years ago?
Yeah, so I've been in the district. We're at the Christina School District, so I've been in the district now for 12 years, and transitioned into this role right after we went away to COVID. And, never was there a better time to jump into instructional technology when everybody in every building looked at you and said, hey, we got to teach virtually tomorrow. How do we do that? So I was here. So technically, I'm an instructional technology curriculum specialist, but
That's a lot of work.
I'm out of it intentionally a lot of times and just say I'm an instructional technology specialist. But yeah,
And I think the vision of our superintendent at the time was to just kind of beef up the program. And I don't think there was a whole lot going on in Christina when it came to technology before before John arrived, and then I came next, and then Crystal. So now we have formed this team of 3 that we pretty much do everything when it comes to instructional technology within the district of 14,000 students. So,
And you said 33 schools?
33.
Wow.
yeah, including a number of unique programs. We have a School of the Deaf. We have students with disabilities platform. We have an autistic centric program. So we have a lot of different needs that we try and facilitate for.
and I think the 3 of us work well together because we're not the same type of person. Like
I gathered that before I hit record.
Yeah,
Truer words, Douglas. Truer words.
like John went to a session already. Chris and I have just been hanging out, eating lunch, and talking about people that walk by us. So
It's fine. I wasn't hungry. Oh wait, that's
And
the
we
opposite.
visited the expo hall too.
we did this
All while John was learning.
and I made sure I got my happy hour.
Awesome. Crystal, how do you factor into this team?
So I'm the newest one on the team. I'm an instructional technology coach. I've known Doug for about 10 years.
Yeah,
I
it's been a
think.
long
I feel like so.
How many good
Um,
ones?
9.5.
Still my boss. So, but it's a great team. We come up with ideas, and there's hardly ever a no. It's how do we do this? And I think that's the thing that I like the most about this job, this position, and this district.
And the one thing I'll say too, at least for these 2, as much as me, we have receipts. I think in a lot of spaces like this, you have people that talk a lot about stuff that they do. We can show you the work that we've done, and how we've moved. I just can look back in the past 2 years and say, I don't know where Christina was before I got here, but I know where we are now and where we're going. And in 2 years, John, Stephen last year and Crystal this year, we have moved. People look at us and remember when Aaron saw us in the hallway one day and it's that's the power team right there.
That's right.
That's it. The 3 of us have moved the district probably more, I can safely say, than any 3 people probably, I don't know, in the direction that we're trying to go.
I coming from the classroom where, we had an LMS that maybe 1 out of 8 were using pre-COVID, and to now it be the primary source of giving content along with giving them new communication tools, new ways to do presentation tools with Nearpod, relying on technology and the integration of technology in the classroom. I think it's second to none over the last 3 years.
Yeah. We had nowhere to go but up too, which was also nice.
Yeah, that did help.
That always helps when you only can go up, right? But I think we're in a good spot now, and I think we're really kind of hitting our stride. So I don't know. I'm very proud of these guys.
And you should be. I don't really know. I'm just kind of agreeing.
Yeah.
But I imagine you should be proud. Let me ask all of you this. So you mentioned receipts, and if you look back at just the last year, for each of you, what is something that you had a hand in directly? Look back on the last school year that you were unsure of. What is, for each of you, one of these receipts for the last year?
I'll start, and it's not to be mushy because she is a giant pain in my rear end.
She's also sitting right here. Oh,
It's bringing her into this team. It's fine. I'll say it looking right into her eyes. She knows this. No, it's bringing Crystal in. We've done some incredible work as a group, and that's not possible without Dr. Samuels being there. I would say our big ideasmen, very different approaches to how we want to accomplish things. But the meat and potatoes is the fact that anything that we come up with and we include Crystal in, it gets done because Crystal's there. Not that we're not doing the work, but Crystal is there. It's gonna get done.
Wave, Crystal. I had to turn it to you.
Hi.
Yeah, I
think
would
that's
agree.
mostly because I put things on your Outlook calendar and you're like, oh, now we need to work.
Somebody's got to keep this circus in line. So
It's a mild circus. It's like no, I would say the one thing that I could lean into. Sorry, I got this cord up. Is we've pushed our relationships too. Like for me, it's all about like technology is really important. But if people don't know that you come from the space that you're going to, like I said, back up what you do and say, do what you say you're going to do, and then go and meet with them, then nothing happens. So we've had a couple of big, like last year, we visited every single classroom in the district. This year, we visited every single coach in the district. So next year, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something like a big splash to say, hey, we're here again. Like, this is what we need to do. And just develop those relationships so that we go into different buildings. Like, I don't go in and necessarily like people are like, hey, Doug, like they know, like it's Terlecki, it's Dr. Samuel. There's no like weirdness. Like you go in and like, hey, I'm here to go see so and so, and it's like, hey, Dr. Samuels, hey, Mr. Tim, whatever. Actually, no one calls him Mr. Tim. They all call me Doug, but whatever. It's but like that's good.
Or they just call you Tim because
Right,
they never
right.
know which name is your first or your last name.
But that's good. Like that's what I want. I want that to be like I want comfort level. Like I'm not district. Although I work for the district office, first. I think the same thing for these guys. Like we're with you. Like we got if something's broken, we'll fix it, right? But I don't know. I think that's what would lean into the most this year. I think it's good.
I think for me, I think it's all the initiatives that we worked on to make it easier for our teachers to be more present for the student, to be more supportive. And we're just putting the tools in their hands and trying to make it more accessible for them. And we're really focused on that as a team. So I think that's one thing that I'm really proud of that we do.
I'll right out and saying bringing Crystal in. One of the things that I am the proudest of is the way that Crystal and I present professional development to the staff. For a long time, whether it was live, whether it was some type of asynchronous thing, it was PD had gotten to that repetitive point of like, okay, we did this. Let me just sign the form. One of the things that Crystal and I have done is kind of put our money where our mouth is. We want you to be as teachers, to be interactive, to be engaging. How do we not present professional development in that same manner? And so going to locations, having handouts, doing blended learning, having takeaways that they can go back to their classroom and try out. Like we have really tried our best. Any PD opportunity that we've had, we try and make it a meaningful situation. I think that's really something we're proud of.
So you're not just going in and lecturing with boring slideshows,
Hard to imagine.
with no time to play. Like you're creating valuable opportunities.
Well, it's a novel concept.
Yeah.
Folks, if you're watching this or listening to this after rewind.
That's a certain system that forever has been difficult for them because they don't get on it often. So like, we just come up with a one pager for you guys to like click here, click. I mean, like little stuff. Like it wasn't super, like the attendance wasn't great, but we had an opportunity every Tuesday and Thursday secretaries to come as like a workshop about Google, learn about Microsoft Outlook. I did a great session with a secretary. I'm not gonna name her, but about Outlook. She didn't know all the tools within Outlook. Like it's like there's a lot of things you can do that can make your life 1,000 times easier if you just play around with it. So, I 35-minute session to just get her moving forward. And then she can then spread the word like we're doing good work and like she can help out other people. So yeah, we've always found a way to meet people where they are and to get them what they need at the right time. And I think that's something else.
And I think what that also speaks to is not a teacher, custodian, secretary, nurses. There's always that, oh, you guys are helpful. Like it's never just assumed that the tech people who are there to try and teach you how to use the technology are going to be helpful. It's always this assumption of like, oh, it's going to be too difficult. Oh, they're going to be talking to me in these technical words and I'm not going to understand.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we show up, and then when they leave, they're like, wow, like they're really helpful. And you almost want to be like, yes, that's why we have jobs. Like that's what we want to do. So I think that to Doug's point, that's one of the biggest takeaways of these small little initiatives that we continue to push forward that really aren't small. They're trying to bridge those communication gaps between the unhelped in the past.
I like to tell people that I'm not a form. But I can also speak people.
Right.
And you just got to break things down sometimes. So we reflected. Let's look ahead a little bit. Mr. Tim,
Yes.
you talked about making splashes the last couple of years and, what might the 23-24 school year hold. So what are some things you're looking forward to innovating or bringing to the teachers that you support, the administrators, custodians, secretaries? What's coming that you guys are excited about?
A little bit, but I would say the one thing is really to just work with for my own benefit and help other people when I've actually worked with a person in the practice of teaching. So identifying the school, like we have a school right now that we're going to do a little bit of an Apple initiative with, and that might be the place to go, but there might be another teacher or two out there that like we can actually say like, let's work with this person and can we create a wonderful blended learning that we can then support and then like a guide to then push around the district. But that's kind of like what my thought is, because we met with all the coaches last year, and I think they're really good, a useful people for us to use. But then how do we get them to then, how do we make it a bigger thing? Like, how do we make it, scalable so that we can push this out in the district? So I don't know. I think we just need to find a few people that we can work with and then just say, hey, this is where we're at, and go from there. I mean, I think that's kind of my thoughts.
I think our best target group is the admin. That hurdle much on their plate, but getting the building admin team on board with the tech pushes so that they see the value and understand why their teachers value is that next great hurdle for us.
I think we have a lot on the roadmap that we're good here, but looking back, in order to look forward, if I look back at last year and if I would have written down everything that we did and gave that to me in the beginning of the year, I think it would have been overwhelming because things just happen throughout the year. And we're like, it sparks ideas and then we do different things. And we're always meeting teachers, nutrition, transportation, maintenance, anybody who needs our help where they're at, and just there to support them throughout the year. So yeah, I'm excited about our roadmap, but I'm also excited about the unknown.
Yeah, I think our roadmap is aggressive, as it tends to be.
It should be.
Yeah.
Well, Crystal plays hockey. I mean,
I learned that.
John
That's
played
exciting.
lacrosse. I was a goalkeeper in soccer. We're all aggressive people.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about is continuing to push what we do forward. Just of our roadmap. At the end of this past year, apparently somebody figured out that we're pretty good at this whole tech and PD thing. And we've started to build our own individually minor version of micro-credentialing in our district. That's the way that we're going to do asynchronous professional development. Well, now all of a sudden, the director who's in charge of PD is like, hey, we think that should be the layout for everybody. So can you help us build a landing page? Shout out EduStage.
Yay!
Can you build a landing page? Can you build us a quick template? Everybody knows how to do this. And it's something that's really neat that it's evolved from. We've built these modules and we have this good layout. And then the beauty of having someone like Dr. Samuels is, hey, that's great. Let's flip it like this. And then let's add this little piece. And now all of a sudden we've gone from, okay, here's just a standard module to now we're going to do, here's a small credential. And we're going to have a credentialing page and the whole nine. I'm really excited to see how that process and that project you've undertaken builds and grows and potentially changes the way that we do professional development in our district.
Let me jump in here real quick and just say, I'd love to have the three of you back on at some point this school year, or when something like that gets going, to kind of create a, hey, here's how you can do this, and let's talk about how it's going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we took a very systemic approach to it and have played with it, and we've gotten tons of feedback, both positive and negative. But
we ran a tiny pilot. We were able to get our new teachers.
Is that one of those short jokes you were talking about?
Right over my head.
Most things are.
I was going to say something when you said the bar was low.
Don't say it. We are recording, Crystal. Do not say it.
When
Keep
somebody
it to
said the bar was low, I was like, oh. But we were able to do a small pilot with a good amount of teachers.
I think we had like 200 teachers.
200 teachers. So it was great because we had, a diverse population.
Yep, we rolled out 3 unique micro credentials, modules, and they were, Schoology for secondary educators, Schoology for elementary educators, and a Nearpod one, and just kind of seeing how that pilot rolled out, seeing the feedback we got. We thought we'll have a Google piece to it, and then Dr. Samuels was really good about providing feedback, but then what we're finding out is not everybody knows how to go back and check for that feedback. So just finding these little holes in the process and patching, find those Band-Aids, apply them, move forward.
And it also required people to have evidence. Again, back to that idea around receipts. Like, it was a not
And it was I enjoyed the feedback from the teachers. We were able to make some tweaks to the modules, hopefully to make it more youth friendly. But yeah, it was great.
She says she enjoyed the feedback. If there was this equipment in my office some of the days.
Sometimes the door was closed.
Right. That's all.
There was a few
Sometimes
breaths.
the door was closed.
Yeah, and then it was a few minutes before I could respond sometimes. But,
F-bombs were dropped.
a few possible.
All right, so we reflected. You made some predictions. Easy.
Yeah.
All the things.
So I'll jump on that first. So one of the nice things for Dr. Samuels and I is our state has our own state level team that brings in folks like us from all the districts. And what I love about that is you hear at every one of these meetings 1 or 2 things that are new that another district is doing. This year we jumped in on glide apps and no code app building as ways to support my team here. As somebody who was new to a district role and going to buildings, like Doug was really good about going in and like, oh, I know I need to meet the secretary. I need to meet the admin teams here. And so for me, it was like, well, let's build an app that showcases just who everybody is. Like something simple like that. But that's a small idea that we got from our team at the state level and went, hey, how can we make that meaningful? And now we're in the process of building an inventorying system for our students with autism and other learning disabilities so that they can go around and inventory the snacks that they hand out to the other classes or inventory the academic needs stuff. And so just taking that small little tool and learning about that and building that into what we do, I think is a game plan for us moving forward. Today, I went and did some stuff around.
for our district to collaborate, move things forward, have an initiative, and actually follow through with it. I mean, for me, it's as much as getting from the top down and then making sure that the classroom, like the ideas from the district office actually have the effect on the classroom. That's kind of, I see that role a little bit, but yeah, I mean, just like John, man, just learning new stuff, talking to people.
That changes so much. I mean, Chat GPT did not exist last year.
Right.
What is ChatGPT?
And it is just taken over. I mean, it's amazing. So, just things like that we can bring back to our staff and help support them with that. So maybe we can like
So selfless.
Yeah, well, we're also lucky. I think we are given a lot of autonomy. And I think that is something that, I mean, we certainly have a lot of autonomy. In reality, the places that I work, we are given a lot of autonomy to kind of make decisions that we think right. And people above us trust us to make the right decisions. And I think that's something that I can't say. If you don't have that, then you kind of just stuck. No matter how smart you are, how innovative you are, you don't have someone saying, yeah, go ahead, give them a shot, and you kind of just stuck with them. I do feel like I have a pretty good boss too. I have a pretty good boss.
Now it's on the
Minute 45.
26:30. Good boss. Good boss. Good boss. Nice. All right. So I have had a blast talking with all of you and having you share. So for somebody who's watching this or listening, how can they connect with you? Twitter, Instagram. How can they get to you guys?
Do you want me to do mine first? Yeah. So my Twitter handle is my name at Crystal, CRYSTAN. I shortened it and took out the top. So it's just CRYS _ Samuels, SAMUELS.
That's pretty easy. At Telecki _ EdTech.
And then we have a CSD Technology, at CSD Technology, and then at Team Dog.
So you want to do your Instagram since you do post some of the EdTech stuff there?
It's the same Instagram. Yeah, I have the same handle. And TikTok.
Good branding. Well done.
Crystal's the only one who's got the slew of them.
Crystal reminds us all the time, like, we need to take a picture. I'm like, yes, done.
Speaking of which, we need to take a picture when we're done. All right. Thank you guys for being here. And again, we're going to bring you back. We'll talk about the micro credentials. And thank you for being on the House of Ed Tech.
Thank you. That was fun.
That was